Right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this evening's Rushcliffe Borough Council Cabinet meeting. We are streaming it live, so it gives the opportunity for everyone at home and elsewhere to watch. Can I also remind everybody that anybody may record or tweet from this meeting, and that the Borough Council is not in control of those events. I'll just do what I always forget to do, and I'll just switch my phone to silent. Everybody else could do the same, and we'll move on to the agenda. Proper item 1, apologies for absence. As far as I can tell, we're all here. Item 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations, either pecuniary or non-pecuniary, from anybody? None. Item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 10th of October. Can I have your approval of those minutes, please? All in favour? Thank you. Excuse me. And that takes us on to item 4, citizens' questions. I believe that there are no citizens' questions, which takes us straight on to item 5, opposition group leaders' questions. We did have a question from Councillor Birch, but he is not here. So I'll move straight on to the next question. Councillor Jen Walker, invite you to come forward, please.
Good afternoon, or good evening. So how were the councillor responses to the consultation considered in the writing of the corporate strategy?
Thank you. The Labour Group submitted a response, and so did 3 other councillors, the survey being anonymous. However, I would also state that I assume all the groups also considered it. Certainly in the case of the Conservative group, it was considered, and therefore that was a joint response. Councillors' feedback was considered and disseminated to our service managers, who will be responsible for the day-to-day delivery of the tasks. They have been asked to consider feedback as they embark upon delivering tasks, or in some areas, continue delivering tasks that are continued from the 2019 to 23 strategy. The corporate strategy captures at a relatively high level the 12 strategic tasks the council is committed to delivering, and behind each of those 12 tasks sits a much more detailed task and appraisal document. These appraisals are still being developed, and councillors' feedback will be considered where possible and appropriate. Do you have a supplementary?
Thank you very much. So how will the council engage in a meaningful way, showing that great care mentioned in the corporate strategy, to ensure that the Greater Nottingham Strategic Plan has input from all stakeholders, especially from vulnerable groups who are often our biggest service users and also bear the brunt of poor strategic planning?
Can I just clarify? You said Greater Nottingham Plan?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So there will be further involvement through the scrutiny process, and there will be all that information will be fed in. It will, assuming that this cabinet this evening approves it going forward to full council, then there'll be an opportunity then to feed that information into the consideration at full council, and we will be also taking into account things like the information that has come forward from the corporate overview group, and there'll be an opportunity for any other information to be fed in time for the council to consider it. Okay. Right, thanks for that. I think what I will do is, Councillor Birch is not here, but I will actually read out his question and I'll give an answer to it. So, given that the corporate strategy public consultation received just 352 responses, do you think that the council did enough to promote the survey to the public? Well, as far as I'm concerned, then yes, we certainly did. The consultation featured in Rushcliffe reports, and that landed on the doorsteps of over 52,000 households, week commencing the 19th of June. So that's 52,000 letterboxes that it went through, and one assumes that there are approximately 2 or more people in that household. So there's the opportunity there for a lot more people to read those Rushcliffe reports. This was supported by an extensive social media campaign. We also issued 2 press releases, which were picked up by West Bridgford Wire and Newark Advertiser. So that was an opportunity for it to be widely publicised as well. The councillors' consultation featured each week in Councillors' Connections. The communication team also followed up with a number of direct emails to all councillors, encouraging them to participate. I would also mention that when it comes to social media, that our comms team have been monitoring it, and there's over 50,000 views have been made of the various social media content in relation to the corporate strategy. So in that respect, I'm satisfied and confident that it has reached a large and a wide part of the population. As Councillor Birch isn't here, obviously there won't be a supplementary to that. Thank you for that. I'll now move on to item 6, to the corporate strategy item, found on page 9. And in introducing that and moving it, I'll just say that, well, it is set to be adopted at the full council in December. Remember that this current strategy that we're in now expires this year, so this will be following straight on. And residents and borough councillors have been consulted, as I've just mentioned in those in the answer to the questions. And the 4 key priorities that we have, they remain the same. Why change a winning formula when they are still all appropriate and relevant, which they are, and the 4 key priorities being the environment, quality of life, sustainable growth, and efficient services. Although each priority is, of course, important in its own right, I would like to say that the environment continues to be a very significant focus for us, and as new legislation comes forward from the government, we need to make sure we are reacting correctly to that. However, there will also be our work towards operational net zero, our conservation efforts, and working to strike the right balance between development without sacrificing the borough's rural identity that the council and so many residents value, as we know, everybody values Rushcliffe, and it's a great place to live. I will just highlight the 12 strategic tasks. So there's deliver climate change strategy 2021 to 23, implement the Environment Act commitments, be an active partner in the delivery of the East Midlands devolution deal, deliver the leisure strategy 2021 to 27, support the redevelopment of the Ratcliffe-on-Soar site, both during and after the decommissioning of the power station, implement levelling up and regeneration bill commitments, adopt the Greater Nottingham Strategic Plan, develop and deliver an economic growth strategy for the borough, support the delivery of the new development sites and new homes, including meeting our affordable housing targets at key sites such as Fareham, Gamston, Newton and Bingham, deliver good value for money in council operations for our residents, participate in an LGA corporate peer challenge and implement the recommendations where appropriate, conduct a review of the council's asset base. So those are the 12 strategic tasks. What I'll also just emphasise, which I implied in my answer to Councillor Walker's question, that the corporate overview has, since the agenda was drawn up, they have met and they've considered the strategy. And what I'm proposing now is that we move this forward and take the corporate and approve the corporate strategy to go forward to full council, but then we include further comments and include, for instance, the comments from the corporate overview group and other comments that are relevant to the potential adoption of that corporate strategy. But at this stage, I'm moving that we approve this present corporate strategy to go forward for final approval at full council. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. Do you wish to?
Yes, yeah, I was just going to come on, just emphasise some of the things that you said, really, Councillor Clark. The plan clearly sets out our strategic objectives and the actions we'll undertake to deliver them, and I think it's a good, accessible document. I hope it's easy for people to read and understand what our priorities are. It does make clear that continuing to deliver our core services to residents remains key priority for us. At the same time, it makes clear that some of the significant strategic challenges we will face, particularly with the advent of the new devolution deal for the region and the creation of a new combined mayoral authority. As Councillor Clark said, we'll continue to work to create opportunities for investment in the region, particularly with the closure of Rushcliffe Power Station, the development of the Freeport, the Development Corporation, and we'll take advantage of the government's levelling up agenda to bring resources into Rushcliffe where we can. And I'm particularly pleased that we'll be working towards an economic growth strategy for the borough, which is also set out in the plan. Alongside these new strategic challenges, we set out our intention to implement new government legislation on planning and the environment, and as Councillor Clark said, to review our asset base to ensure that we maintain sound finances, enabling us to continue to deliver those high quality services to our residents, and to ensure that they represent value for money and contribute to our overall objective of ensuring that this borough stays a great place to live, work and bring up a family. So I'm very happy to support the recommendation that we endorse this strategy to go forward to full council for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Any other comments, Councillor Wheeler?
Yep, thank you, Chairman. Just to, I think, talk about item 4, which is obviously comes under my portfolio about the leisure strategy. I think just to say I really welcome this inclusion in the strategic task and for it to be reviewed. I think looking at the points there already, we've made really good progress on all of them on there. So I really look forward to be able to report back when this goes for scrutiny again about how we've met those and hopefully exceeded the targets. I think overall, we have gone out to residents, we've gone out to councillors. I think it shows probably that the fact, as you mentioned in your question and answer to Councillor Birch's submitted question, that we have reached a lot of people. In fact, we haven't got many responses. I think actually shows people are really happy with what they've seen in that strategy and actually the direction the council is going in, because you often find that people are more than happy to comment when they are against something or feel aggrieved or that they challenge something that everything's right. But when people agree, they tend to not comment as much. So I think we will continue to push it out there. I want to pay tribute to the comms team who did a lot of work to publicise it. As you mentioned, your figures out there. In fact, we've not hidden behind this and tried to put it on a shelf. When the last strategy came to scrutiny, I chaired that committee, and my recommendation was with this strategy, and hopefully scrutiny do the same, which is they keep looking at it. I think we should welcome that to see where we get against strategic tasks and make sure that we keep on track with delivering them. But I'm really confident we will do, and that the public can see we're opening where we want to be our direction in the next 4 years, and to again be able to hold us to account to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any Councillor Upton?
There's been a lot of changes in the last 4 years, and I think it's very timely that we have a new strategic plan for the next 2 or 3 years that lie ahead, because who knows what's going to happen then. But, you know, I like a plan, I like a direction of travel, and I like a vision. And I think this document sets that out. And as I say, it's timely we do it now. And I think it gives us a route map, for want of a better word. So I welcome it.
Thank you very much indeed. Any other comments? No, I'd just make further comments in addition to what Councillor Wheeler said, that no, it won't be a completely closed document. If there are additional tasks that are identified that will contribute to the council's priorities, then of course they can be considered to be added to an action plan as appropriate and as necessary. So in that respect, you know, it's a document that we need to keep referring back to because A, it's a good document, and B, it will be good for the residents. So we need to make sure we continue delivering for the residents. So it has been moved and seconded. So all those in favour, please. That's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. I'll move on to the agenda item 7, page 43, which relates to the Growth Board review. I'll ask Councillor Brennan to introduce it, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So this report follows on from reports submitted to Cabinet in June 23 and the Growth and Development Scrutiny Committee in October 23, and reflects the outcome of those discussions and the extensive review work that officers undertook. So I'm now seeking Cabinet approval for the new structure for the boards, as well as for the new terms of reference. Paragraph 4 of the paper sets out the new structure. The Strategic Growth Board, which exists now, will continue, but with new objectives. The proposed terms of reference for this new board are set out at Appendix A. The local growth boards, as were, will be replaced by development and community boards. Some will be as now, some will cease to, of the former growth boards will cease to exist, and other new boards will be established. Alongside these, task and finish groups will be established as required to focus on a particular topic or area of interest. Paragraph 4.8 sets out some of the questions that will need to be considered before any such group is established. And meetings with the 6 largest town and parish councils and the West Bridgford Local Area Forum will be put in place, providing an opportunity for local issues in the area to be discussed and raised with the council. These are not intended to operate as formal boards. They'll be smaller and with limited attendees. A diagram of the proposed structure is set out at paragraph 4.3, and a summary of those changes is set out at paragraph 4.4. Fareham, Newton and Sharp Hill boards already exist and they will remain. Eastleigh Growth Board will no longer meet and issues will be dealt with via more focused groups in that area. Bingham Growth Board will no longer meet in the current format and emphasis will move to the development site. In addition, there is the Bingham Car Parking Group, which is supported by the Borough Council. Radcliffe-on-Trent and the West Bridgford Growth Boards will no longer meet and issues will be dealt with via more focused groups as necessary and as they come up. Appendices A and B set out the terms of reference for the Strategic Growth Board and the Development and Community Groups, using the Fare and Pastures Board as an example, and also indicate the proposed membership. An important new role for the Strategic Growth Board will be the development of an economic growth strategy for the borough, which we've mentioned in respect of the corporate strategy. It will oversee the development and delivery of the work programmes for the task and finish groups. It will be chaired by Councillor Clark as leader of the council. The process for establishing the terms of reference for the task and finish groups is set out in paragraph 4.8. And these new structures will continue to be supported by officers of the Borough Council, primarily the economic growth team, but also other officers as appropriate, depending on the subject matter and the necessary expertise. Considerable work has gone into this refresh of the growth boards. They served their purpose. In many cases, they delivered very well what they were anticipated to deliver, but now is the right time to review those, to make sure that they're still relevant, still operating as they should, still including the right partners and still tackling the right issues. The process has also had input from members, elected members via scrutiny, and surveys of existing board members and businesses and other partners that were involved in the original growth boards. This new structure will be fit for purpose going forward and help to deliver our corporate objectives, as well as respond flexibly to local needs. So can I move, please, to that Cabinet approves the recommendations at paragraph 2 of the paper to approve the new structure for the boards and agree the proposed terms of reference templates included in the annexes and delegate authority to adapt as necessary to the Directive for Development and Economic Growth. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Do I have a second, please? Councillor Upton.
Thank you, Chairman. I guess I speak from some experience of the growth boards because I chaired the West Bridgeford one for a couple of years, and I still sit on the Radcliffe-on-Trent growth board. And, you know, it's 8 years now or so since they were set up. And that's quite a long time, really. And I think the danger is that I go to meetings for the sake of meetings. That's the danger. And have they come to the end of their useful life as they were originally set up all those years ago? And I think personally they probably have. And I felt that in the last year or so. And so I think this is quite timely, really, that we've stepped back. We've took a long, hard look at what are they achieving, what are they about now, and the world has changed and moved on. So I think, as Councillor Brennan has just outlined, yes, it's time for a new structures, as she set out and referred to in item 4.2. There's a lot of flexibility there. It's sort of horses for courses rather than one size fits all. And I applaud that. And I note that the growth and development scrutiny in October this year gave it a good hard look, and they've endorsed this report. So I have no problems in seconding it. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, you're right. When they were first set up, you know, they were right for their time and they were serving a useful purpose, but things evolve and it's right to review and to make sure that the operations are still fit for where we are now. So it's very useful and timely, as you say. Any other comments? Councillor Inglis.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I concur with Councillor Upton, having chaired the Bingham Growth Board. Yeah, a lot of the projects have been delivered, but I'm pleased to see that the car park and the development is still included within the new tasking. But I think it's more inclusive for all the other areas. It was a bit closed shop, the others, so I'm pleased now that other areas can now be included to receive that expertise and guidance.
Thank you for that. Any other comments? No, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favour, please. That is unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. That's the last item on the agenda. So that comes to the end of the agenda. So I'll declare the meeting closed and thank you for all those people who have been watching.